Hello and welcome back to the weekly Kashmir University Video Digest Quest. First, a look at the highlights. Interview with Controller Examinations. Distance Education organizes workshop on quality assurance. And finally, former UGC Chairman Professor Ved Prakash delivers special lecture on new education policy. Now the details of these events with your host Umar Malik. Dear viewers, since it is the time of examination, we conducted interview with the Controller of Examinations, Professor Farooq Ahmed Mir, for the benefit of the student community. We hope that this interview may have quashed many apprehensions that the student community had with regard to examinations. Sir, first of all, I welcome you to our program. Sir, can you please tell us about the ongoing and upcoming examinations of graduate and postgraduate level that are being conducted by the university?
Now see, we have different semester examinations. At present, we are conducting 5th semester examination, and immediately after that, we are going to conduct a 6th semester examination, and along with that, we have already scheduled 4th semester backlog batch 2015 examination as well. So we have very recently concluded first semester examination of UG, in which 73,000 students appeared. And immediately after that, without having any break, we started 5th semester UG examination. And we are going to conclude that on 11th of this month. Then we will start 6th semester UG examination. These are major examinations. But in addition to these examinations, we have backlog examinations going on at UG level. And then we have professional examinations of different courses. For instance, we have nursing courses, we have medical lab technology courses, we have physiotherapy courses, we have then MBBS, dental, engineering courses. And then we have PG courses in our university and satellite campuses. All these examinations are right now going on in different examination centers. As I told you, for instance, in case of first semester examination, we had 450 examination centers across throughout valley, at Jammu and Ladakh also. Similarly, for 5th semester examination, which I said is going on, we have 330 examination centers. So this is a huge exercise. But in addition to this, as I said, we have good number of other examinations going on at present. And rest assured, all the pending examinations which could not be held because of the circumstances which were not in our control were scheduled already, for instance, in the month of August, September or October, will be conducted. For instance, 3rd semester examination could not be conducted right now. We are going to conduct that in the month of February, and then other examinations will follow. We will not stop anywhere.
Sir, the University of Kashmir follows its own academic calendar, but since 2014 floods, it got disturbed. The students are very apprehensive that this year they may lose 1 year of their, with no fault of theirs actually. As Controller of Examinations, what steps are you taking to mitigate this issue?
Now, let me tell you first, in fact, before 2014, we had here annual scheme. We used to conduct exams annually, and that too, there was a single paper scheme.
Yes.
So for one subject, we had one paper. And in 2014, we in fact had the scheme in vogue. Then we switched over to semester system in 2015. And in 2016 onwards, we made a major change in our curriculum, and we switched over what is popularly called as choice-based credit system.
Yes.
That was basically mandate of UGC. That was not our own decision. So we had to first go for annual to semester scheme, and then from semester scheme to choice-based credit system. This was a quantum jump in which good number of papers, optional papers, skill-oriented courses were introduced. But unfortunately, in 2016, situation was not conducive enough to introduce these courses. But as I said, that this was a requirement of UGC, so we had no option but to introduce the scheme. Then 2016 onwards, we had other issues also. So that's why we could not in fact maintain, strictly speaking, academic calendar. But right now we have framed the calendar. We may be going to publish that within a couple of days. That is already ready. And I assure my students that henceforth we will in fact work very hard to maintain our academic calendar, to see the degrees which are, for instance, to be concluded within 2 years, or concluded within 2 years, or 3-year courses completed within 3 years.
Sir, one complaint that the students very often make is that their semester results get delayed, and due to that they are not able to improve their next semester results because they never know what they have got in the previous semester. Are you going to take up this thing?
Since most of the students complain that semester results are not declared well in time, and their main concern is basically about undergraduate courses. So to a great extent they are correct, because we have not been able to declare the results well in time. But right now, for instance, as I said in the beginning, that we are going to have this 5th semester examination that will be concluded in this month itself. On 11th of January we are going to conclude that. We have started this evaluation simultaneously, and I am hopeful within 1 month we are going to declare its result. And same holds true about the 6th semester, which we are going to conduct immediately after the 5th semester examination. So then again our focus of attention will be 6th semester, and we will be declaring that result also within the minimum possible time. So through this medium, I am going to assure my students wherever they are that they will get 5th and 6th semester result well in time.
According to students, there are indications that theory papers are going to be reintroduced in the examination for undergraduate courses. Is it true?
Not totally it is true, because right now I have in fact introduced this odd even scheme at undergraduate level. Though at postgraduate level we have not changed any scheme as yet, but undergraduate level, since there was mass backlog of examinations and results, so we decided to streamline it somewhat, in this sense that we introduced odd and even scheme. In case of odd semesters, for instance, we have a very comprehensive descriptive paper, and in even semesters we have in fact introduced this MCQ based question paper only to cut delay in the declaration of the results. Once we are comfortable and all these processes are streamlined, then we can think of changing over the scheme. But as right now we have in fact introduced the scheme very recently, so we are not going to change it so quickly.
Sure. Sir, revaluation of papers usually takes a very long time, and because of that most of the students lose about a year of their academic session. As controller of examination, are any steps being taken to?
Now see, basically there is another story behind this. We declare the result, then students are supposed to apply for evaluation within 10 days. But these 10 days never end. Students come on quite often with one request or another, requesting for again this revaluation, that they request us to extend the date of revaluation so that they can also apply. And they have n number of excuses. They are, for instance, far off places, they were not knowing it, they don't have paper, even print media access, not to talk of internet, other things. So we have to budge at times. With the result, it goes on. And once, for instance, revaluation is concluded, already 1 month is over. Then we have to take these answer books from, for instance, 1 lakh answer scripts. So it takes again some time. Then we have to send these papers for evaluation. So we have to search our faculty. We have to give another coding to these answer scripts. So it takes some time, but our efforts are always there to see that the evaluation result is also declared well in time. Otherwise, of course, I can admit that it loses that purpose for which a student applies for evaluation.
Exactly. Sir, any message you want to put across students, teachers, and different heads?
Yeah. Now see, right now we are conducting good number of examinations. I would like to request my students that please concentrate on your studies. be focused on the examination. My impression right now is that unfortunately our students do not have examination as a priority. Unless and until we have three important stakeholders on the same page, we may not be able to conduct these examinations smoothly. And by that I mean to say that university officials, then degree college faculty, principals and other officials, and then government must be on board together to conduct these major examinations. For instance, sometimes we see that student has appeared in the practical examination, but his practical marks have not been uploaded. Yes. Or project has been conducted, but those marks have not been uploaded. Or, as I said, we have now introduced a choice-based credit system in which a student is having choice of different courses. I have seen there are some colleges where students have made complaints like this, that they had opted for paper A, but they got in admit card they got paper B. So they were compelled to appear in paper B examination. This is also delaying then the result process. So that's why I request all my colleagues staying in different colleges, please ensure that your these admission committees are viable, and all students mandatorily go through these admission committees while they are required to select these papers, so that there is afterwards no hiccup, everything goes smoothly.
We hope that this interview may have quashed many apprehensions that the student community had with regard to examinations. Former UGC Chairman Professor Ved Prakash delivered a special lecture on the New Education Policy 2019, in which he examined the policy and its implications on the education sector and the future of students. Dean Academics Professor Akbar Masood introduced the guest to the audience.
Professor Ved Prakash ji, a US Fulbright Fellow, is an academician and administrator par excellence. Now, in the history of UGC in the last 63 years, he has unique distinction of serving it in all the three positions as Secretary UGC, Vice Chairman UGC and Chairman UGC. Now, there is a long list of important key positions that Professor Ved Prakash ji has held. Some of them are Advisor, Education Planning Commission, Government of India. He has been Professor and Head Department at NCRT. He has been Associate Professor IBPS Bombay, Joint Director Staff Selection Commission, Government of India, Consultant World Bank, Visiting Professor University of Windsor, Canada, Guest Faculty at HRD Harvard University.
Delineating the New Education Policy 2019, the former US Fulbright Fellow Professor Prakash underlined some salient features of it.
The difference between the earlier policy of 1986 and this draft policy of 2019 is that it has both policy statements as well as the recommendations. Whereas in 1986 we brought out a small policy and then the program of action which was brought out subsequently in 1992. So this is a combination of both this 2019, and which is why you would find it a voluminous document comprising 473 pages actually. The first very positive recommendation in this, the policy statement, is extension of rights to education up to higher secondary stage, covering children up to the age of 18 years. This is a very welcome policy statement, because until now we were stuck only with the universalization of elementary education. We had never ever talked about the universalization of school education. But it has laid a lot of emphasis on curricular and pedagogical reforms. This is again the requirement of a vibrant education system. They have laid a lot of emphasis on vocationalization of education, and which is why they have given equal importance to all the streams of school education. It has also talked about the flexibility in the selection of the subjects by the students.
Professor Prakash said that there are some points in the policy that need rethinking.
Another interesting feature, they have said, the policy has said, for every 5 million we will have one type, one university, which means that we will require 260 universities for 130 crore people. For every 500,000, one type 2 university, which means that we would need 2,600 universities for 130 crore people. For every 200,000, one type 3 institution, which means that we would have 6,500 colleges for our country. Now, it has also said that each district will have all 3 types of institutions. What will happen when we are going to have type 1, type 2 and type 3 universities in each district? What would be the profile of that university? Just imagine. You will have students from the district only. How are you going to diversify the population? How are you going to diversify the curricular provisions? How are you going to ensure pluralism in terms of students recruitment, teachers recruitment, pluralism in terms of curricular provision, pluralism in terms of resource mobilization, and pluralism in terms of attacking the research issues from different perspectives. So it would be highly localized. That is not the purpose of higher education, actually.
He said that the new education policy has relied heavily on MOOCs, and at the same time, the 2019 education policy makes all the colleges autonomous.
The another thing, they have talked about the abolition of the MPhil programs. And they have said that a 4-year degree program, pass out of a 4-year degree program can straight away go for the research. Which is again requires some kind of reconsideration, whether we would be able to prepare the children so very well that they can have good research orientation after the end of the 4-year program. The policy has laid heavy reliance on ODL system to boost the gross enrollment ratio. It has also talked that about the massive use of MOOCs, massive open online courses. University Grants Commission has also come up with a regulation in 2018 that you can deliver full program online. It has also talked about the introduction of and another interesting feature is that all the colleges from hence would be autonomous colleges, and they will have the power to grant the degrees. Okay? Now, introduction of common modular entrance examination through National Testing Agency, that would be done multiple times.
Former advisor to the Governor, Mr. Khurshid Ganai, appreciating the points raised by Professor Prakash, added that every policy formulated must be implemented.
It is a fact that we cannot have a policy, an education policy, without looking into what the future is going to be all about, or how this policy will prepare our youth to be useful citizens in future as they grow up and be able to contribute and be able to actually first find employment. To make a summary of this report and put with special emphasis on higher education. Now, if you do that and share it with the government, I'm sure it will be very useful for the government to formulate the state level policy and to be able to, do good and better for the higher education. Thank you very much.
The Directorate of Distance Education organized a one-day workshop on quality assurance in open and distance learning. The workshop was organized in collaboration with the Center for Internal Quality Assurance. Speaking on the occasion, Director Distance Education Professor Tariq Ahmed Chishti, in his welcome address, said there are many employed youth who want to enhance their knowledge, and for them distance education is an ideal way of learning.
For example, since I belong to the discipline of mathematics, I usually get the students in mathematics program who have already done their BTech or they have done their MTech, and from very good institutions. Even I had the students from IITs. They have done BTech or MTech from IIT. Now they have the interest in mathematics. because in engineering they want that they should have a good mathematical skills. So in order to equip themselves with those skills, they want to have this master's program in mathematics. So they are already in job, they don't need job, but they want to gain knowledge, and that's one of the factors also. One section of our students are those students also.
Describing the policy parameters of open learning, Dean Open Learning Professor Mushtaq Ahmed said that without liaison officers, it would not have been possible to disseminate quality education at the doorsteps of people.
The policy parameters are equity, accessibility, equal opportunity and quality. But so far as structural parameters are concerned, we are very thankful to you being liaison officers associated to the Directorate of Distance Education, and also at the same time you act as academic counselors and mentors to the students, that you are giving us space there, you are handling these study centers there, and this is you are in this way you are fulfilling the parameters of these regulations. You are providing equal opportunity to the disadvantaged students of this valley or this state when you are providing them accessibility for higher education at their doorsteps.
Explaining the future of distance and open learning in the coming times, Assistant Professor, Directorate of Distance Education, Dr. Habibullah Shah said that not only the nomenclature of it's going to change, but a lot of structural changes would take place for the benefit of people.
But it will be news for all of us that just 2 months before there was a conference in the USA where all the American Distance Education Associations collaborated. And they realized that still it is open and distance learning, but the system is not flexible yet. Our system has unnecessary barriers. So the term ODL has been replaced with a new term that is OFDL, Open, Flexible, Distance and Learning. And I see very soon the name of this directorate will be Directorate of Open, Flexible and Distance Learning.
Assistant Professor at Distance Education, Dr. Anida Jan, conducted the proceedings of the function. That's all for today's episode. Log on to our website emmrckashmir.com, where you can check latest episode of Quest. You can also watch it on our YouTube channel, that is KU Television. Do send us your valuable suggestions at our email address, that is quest@emmrckashmir.com. Before I take your leave, here are a few words of wisdom. The vanquished have a longer memory.